Hello, my name is Liba. Today, I want to talk about learning English. English changed my life. It helped me make friends and dream bigger. When I started learning, I was scared. I didn't know many words, but I didn't give up. Step by step, I learned, like a baby learning to walk. I fell, but I got up again. Maybe you are scared too. You might be afraid to speak or worried you'll make mistakes. But mistakes are part of learning. If we don't try, we can't get better. Speaking English is like swimming. At first, the water is deep, but when you jump in, it gets easier. The more you practice, the better you get. Listening helps a lot. When you listen to English, you start to understand the words. You learn new things without trying. It's like listening to music. Practice with friends or by yourself. I talk to myself in English sometimes. It might feel strange, but it helps me. You don't need big words to speak well. Simple words work. Just focus on saying what you want, even if it's not perfect. People will understand. When I was learning, I thought, what if people laugh at me? But then I learned that if I don't speak, I won't improve. People were kind and helped me. It's okay to be nervous. Just take a deep breath, smile, and start speaking. The more you talk, the easier it gets. Reading out loud helps too. When you read, your brain gets used to the words. It's like exercise. The more you read, the better you get. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all need help. Asking questions is how we learn. Believe in yourself. If you say, I can learn this, you will improve. Learning English is not hard if you take it one step at a time. It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time. Start today. Speak English as much as you can. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak. Learning English is like planting a tree. It grows slowly, but one day you'll see how strong it is. The most important thing is not how fast you learn, but that you never stop. Keep going, keep talking, and you will say, I did it. I remember my first English conversation. I was nervous, but I tried. I made mistakes, but I felt proud I spoke. Speaking English is about being brave. Every time you speak, you get better. When I started, I watched English movies. At first, I didn't understand much, but I kept watching and learned how people talk and express feelings. Language is not just words. It's about sharing your heart. If you feel stuck, don't give up. Learning is like climbing a hill. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes slow, but you're always moving forward. Set small goals. One day, focus on new words. The next, work on pronunciation. Little by little, you will improve. Celebrate your progress. Every new word or sentence is a success. Writing in English helps too. I kept a journal. I wrote simple sentences every day. It helped me think in English. Try thinking in English. At first, it might be hard, but with practice, it gets easier. Find friends to practice with. Meet, talk in English, and laugh at your mistakes. You'll learn together. Don't be afraid to talk to native speakers. They understand your learning. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Every mistake is a chance to learn. Some days will be hard. You might want to quit. But remember, you are stronger than you think. You took the first step, and that is brave. English connects you to the world. It's like a bridge. You can travel, meet people, and learn new things. Keep going, and one day you'll speak English with confidence. You are doing great. If you make a mistake, don't worry. You are learning and getting better every day. Keep trying. Chapter 2. I want to tell you more about learning English. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Every day you get better, even if you don't see it right away. When I started, I didn't know where to begin, but I just started. I didn't worry about being perfect. I focused on learning one thing at a time. When I first started, I made many mistakes. I thought people would laugh at me, but they didn't. They were kind and helped me. You might feel afraid, but that's okay. You are not alone in this. Many people feel the same. The important thing is to keep trying. One thing that helped me a lot was making a routine. I studied every day, even if it was just for a few minutes. At first, I didn't know much, but slowly, I started learning more words. It didn't happen fast, but it happened. Every day, I learned something new. It helped me to listen to English a lot. I would listen to songs, watch shows, and talk to people in English. Even if I didn't understand everything, I listened carefully. Listening helped me get used to how English sounds. It helped me understand how words are spoken. After a while, I began to understand more. Sometimes I didn't know what some words meant, but I didn't stop. I tried to guess what they meant from the situation. If I didn't know, I asked. Asking questions is very important. You will not always know everything, and that's okay. It's good to ask, and it helps you learn. When I was practicing, I also learned new ways to remember words. I would write them down in a notebook. I would look at the words every day. This helped me remember them. Writing the words helped me see them and remember how they looked. If you do this every day, you will get better. Speaking every day helped me too. I practiced by speaking to myself in English. It felt strange at first, but it worked. I would talk about my day, what I was doing, or things I liked. I didn't care if it wasn't perfect. The important thing was to practice. The more I practiced, the easier it became. You can do the same. Find a mirror or a friend and practice speaking. Talk about anything. You don't need to know many words. The more you talk, the more you will learn. And don't worry about making mistakes. Mistakes are normal. They help you improve. Another way to learn is by reading in English. I read books, stories, and even websites in English. At first it was hard. I didn't know many words, but I kept reading. Slowly, I understood more. It was okay if I didn't know every word. I just tried to understand the main idea. Reading also helped me with grammar. When I read, I saw how sentences are formed. I learned how words work together. Over time, it became easier to speak and write in English. Sometimes, I practiced English by writing about my day. Writing helped me remember new words. I didn't worry about making mistakes. The important thing was to write. It didn't matter if I made mistakes. Every time I wrote, I got better. It's also good to learn from other people. If you know someone who speaks English, talk to them. Ask them to help you. People are usually happy to help you learn. They might correct your mistakes, but that's good. It's how you learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. One thing I learned is that it's okay to be slow. When you are learning something new, it's normal to take time. If you make mistakes, don't feel bad. Mistakes are part of the process. Every mistake helps you learn and get better. So, don't give up. I also set small goals for myself. I didn't try to learn everything at once. I would say, today I will learn 5 new words, or today I will practice speaking for 10 minutes. Setting small goals made learning easier. It made me feel good when I reached my goal. As you learn, try to enjoy the process. English is a fun language. There are many interesting things to learn. It can be exciting to discover new words and understand more. The more you enjoy it, the easier it will be. One thing that helped me was finding fun ways to practice. I watched movies in English. I played games in English. I read funny stories. These things made learning fun. When you enjoy what you are doing, it doesn't feel like work. Another way to learn is by practicing with other people. Find friends who want to practice too. You can talk with them in English. You can help each other. It's fun to learn together. If you make a mistake, your friend can help you. And if they make a mistake, you can help them. It's also good to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. You will not be perfect right away, and that's okay. Every day you will improve. The more you practice, the better you will get. Keep going. Don't stop. You are learning and getting better each day. The more you practice, the more confident you will feel. At first, you might feel shy, but when you practice, you will start to feel proud of yourself. Speaking English will become easier and easier. Remember, everyone starts somewhere. Don't compare yourself to others. Your journey is yours. Go at your own pace. What's important is that you keep trying. Keep learning. You are doing a great job. Chapter 3. Learning English is a journey. Sometimes it feels hard, but that's okay. When I first started, I didn't understand everything. I made many mistakes, but I kept going. Step by step, I got better. Now, I want to share more tips to help you. One important thing is to practice every day. It doesn't matter how much time you spend. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day will help. The more you practice, the faster you will improve. It's like exercising your body. If you practice, your muscles get stronger. The same thing happens with language. The more you practice, the better you get at speaking, listening, reading, and writing in English. It's okay to start slow. Don't rush. If you try to learn everything at once, it might feel too much. So take it one step at a time. Start with the basics. Learn simple words and phrases. Then, little by little, you can learn more difficult things. Don't worry if you don't know everything right away. Just keep going. I also found that listening to English every day really helped me. I would listen to songs, podcasts, or watch TV shows in English. Even if I didn't understand everything, I still listened. This helped me get used to the sounds of English. I started to hear how words were said. I could understand the language better over time. Another good way to practice is by talking to yourself. This might sound strange, but it works. When you talk to yourself in English, You practice speaking without fear. I did this a lot when I was learning. I would talk about my day, my plans, or anything I was thinking about. At first, I felt silly, but it helped me feel more comfortable speaking, and the more I did it, the easier it became. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I made many mistakes when I was learning, but I never gave up. Mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake teaches you something new. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. So don't be afraid to speak. People will not laugh at you. Most people will be happy to hear you try. When I was learning, I also used flashcards. I would write new words on cards and read them every day. This helped me remember the words better. I also used pictures to help me understand. For example, if I learned the word apple, I would look at a picture of an apple. This made it easier to remember. Reading helped me too. At first, I read simple books or short stories in English. It was not easy, but I kept reading. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the main idea. This helped me improve my reading skills. I also started to learn new words. If I didn't understand a word, I would look it up. This helped me grow my vocabulary. It's important to set small goals when learning English. I didn't try to learn everything at once. Every day I set a small goal for myself. Some days I would learn 5 new words. Other days I would practice speaking for 10 minutes. Setting small goals made learning easier. And when I reached my goal, I felt proud of myself. Another way to practice is by writing. Writing in English helped me understand the language better. I would write simple sentences about my day. I didn't worry about making mistakes. The important thing was to practice. The more I wrote, the better I became at forming sentences. Find friends who are also learning English. Practice with them. Talk in English as much as you can. If you make a mistake, that's okay. You and your friends can help each other. Learning together is fun, and it makes you feel less nervous. I also learned a lot from watching movies and shows in English. At first, it was hard to understand everything, but over time, I understood more. Watching shows helped me learn new words and phrases. It also helped me understand how people speak. I noticed their expressions, how they moved their hands, and how they used their voices. All of this helped me understand the language better. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand something, ask. If you don't know how to say something, ask. People will help you. The more you ask, the more you learn. This is how you get better at speaking and understanding English. You might feel shy at first, and that's okay. Everyone feels nervous when they start learning something new. But remember, it's normal to feel that way. Don't let fear stop you. Speak as much as you can. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. Some days, it will feel hard. But even on those days, keep going. You are learning, and every day, you get better. Don't give up just because it's difficult. You will improve little by little. One last thing that helped me was staying positive. There were days when I felt frustrated. I wanted to give up. But I remembered why I started. I reminded myself that every mistake was a chance to learn. I told myself that I could do it. Staying positive helped me keep going. So keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep learning. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Remember that every mistake is a step forward. With each day, you are getting better. You can do this. Keep going, and one day you will be proud of how far you've come. Chapter 4. Learning English can be hard, but it is also exciting. I remember when I started, I felt nervous. I didn't know many words. Sometimes I didn't understand what people said, but I kept trying. Every time I practiced, I got a little better. One thing I learned is that you don't need to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning. It's part of the process. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you will make. But even if you make mistakes, that's okay. The most important thing is to keep going. One way I improved my English was by listening. I listened to music, podcasts, and watched movies in English. At first, I didn't understand everything, but slowly, I started to hear new words. The more I listened, the more I learned. Listening helped me get used to the sounds of English. It helped me understand how people speak. Another way to improve your English is by reading. Reading helps you learn new words. It also helps you see how sentences are made. When I was learning, I read simple books and stories. At first it was hard, but I kept going. Slowly, I understood more. I didn't try to understand every word. I focused on the main idea of the story. If you don't understand a word, it's okay. Don't stop reading. Try to guess the meaning of the word. You can also look up the word in a dictionary. Over time, you will learn new words. The more you read, the better you will get at understanding English. Speaking is also very important. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. When I started learning, I was scared to speak. I didn't want to make mistakes, but I forced myself to speak anyway. I started by talking to myself in English. I would talk about my day or ask myself questions. At first it felt strange, but the more I did it, the easier it became. You can also practice speaking with a friend. Find someone who also wants to learn English. Talk to them every day. It's okay if you make mistakes. Your friend is learning too. You can help each other. The more you talk, the better you will get. Don't be afraid to talk to people who speak English. When I was learning, I was shy. I didn't want to speak to native speakers, but I realized that most people are kind. They will help you if you make a mistake. They understand that you are learning. So speak to them. Don't be afraid. Another thing that helped me was setting small goals. At first, I didn't try to learn everything at once. I set small goals for myself. Maybe I would learn 5 new words today, or practice speaking for 10 minutes. These small goals helped me feel better. When I reached them, I felt proud. One thing that can help you learn English is writing. Writing helps you remember new words. It also helps you practice making sentences. You don't need to write long stories. Just write a few sentences every day. Write about your day, your plans, or anything you want. Writing helps you think in English. You can also keep a journal. Every night, write a few sentences about what you did that day. This helps you practice. You will see that over time, your sentences become better. Your writing will improve. And when your writing improves, your speaking will improve too. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. Some days, you will feel like you are not improving, but don't give up. Every time you practice, you are getting better. Even if you don't see it, you are learning. The more you practice, the faster you will improve. Sometimes when I was learning, I felt frustrated. I wanted to learn faster. But I reminded myself that learning takes time. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first it's hard, but after some practice, it gets easier. Keep practicing. Every day you are learning more. You can also practice with technology. There are many apps that can help you learn English. Some apps help you practice speaking. Others help you practice reading or listening. You can use these apps every day to practice. It's a fun way to learn, and it's easy to use. Remember that everyone learns at their own speed. Don't compare yourself to others. Just focus on your own learning. You are doing a great job. Keep going, and you will get better every day. Another tip is to use English in your daily life. For example, if you are cooking, try to say the names of the ingredients in English. If you are going to the store, try to think in English. You don't need to speak a lot. Just use small words and phrases. This will help you practice. You will see that little by little, you will start thinking in English. It's also good to take breaks. Learning a language can be tiring. If you feel tired, take a short break. Then come back and practice again. Don't push yourself too hard. It's important to rest and relax. Finally, remember that learning English is a journey. It's not about being perfect. It's about trying and improving every day. Keep practicing. Keep making mistakes. Don't give up. You are doing great. One day, you will be able to speak English easily, and when that happens, you will feel proud of yourself. Keep going, and never stop learning. Chapter 5. Learning English is like building a house. You start with a strong foundation, and then you add more pieces. When I first started learning English, I didn't know much. I didn't know many words, and I didn't understand everything. But over time, I learned more and more. I built my skills step by step. I want to help you do the same. One thing that really helped me was listening. Listening to English every day made a big difference. I listened to songs, podcasts, and TV shows. Even if I didn't understand everything, I kept listening. Slowly, I began to understand more words and phrases. Listening helps you get used to how English sounds. You learn how people speak, and you also learn new words without even trying. Another way I improved my English was by speaking. At first, I was scared to speak. I was afraid of making mistakes. But I learned that making mistakes is part of learning. Every time I made a mistake, I learned something new. So, I started speaking more. I would talk to myself, practice with a friend, or even talk to people in English. The more I spoke, the more comfortable I became. Speaking helped me feel more confident. It's important to practice speaking every day. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. You won't get better unless you try. When I started learning, I practiced with my friends. We would speak only in English. Sometimes it felt awkward, but the more we practiced, the easier it became. You can do the same. Find someone to practice with or even talk to yourself. It helps. When I was learning, I also found that reading helped a lot. I started with simple books and stories. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I didn't give up. I kept reading. Slowly, I began to understand more. Reading helped me learn new words and also showed me how sentences are formed. It's important to read every day. Even if you only read a little, it will help you improve. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. When I started, I didn't understand a lot of words, but I didn't stop reading. I would guess the meaning of the word or look it up. Over time, I learned more words. The more you read, the better you will get at understanding. Writing also helped me a lot. Writing is a great way to practice English. I would write about my day or about things I liked. At first, my writing was not perfect, but that's okay. The more I wrote, the better I became. I started writing more and more. It helped me practice making sentences and using new words. You don't need to write long stories. Even short sentences help you improve. I also used flashcards to help me remember new words. Every time I learned a new word, I would write it on a card and review it. This helped me remember the words better. You can make your own flashcards or use an app on your phone. Review your flashcards every day. This will help you remember what you've learned. One important thing is to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. There will be days when you feel frustrated. You might feel like you're not improving, but you are. Every time you practice, you are getting better. It might be slow at first, but don't give up. Keep practicing, and you will improve. Sometimes I would feel like I wasn't making progress. I would compare myself to others, and it made me feel bad. But then I remembered that everyone learns at their own speed. I focused on my own progress. Every little step was an achievement. You should do the same. Don't compare yourself to others. Celebrate your own progress. Be proud of how far you've come. Another way to improve is to ask for help. If you don't understand something, ask someone. If you don't know how to say a word, ask someone how to say it. People are usually very kind and happy to help. Asking for help is a great way to learn. It's better to ask than to keep guessing. Every time you ask a question, you learn something new. It's also important to practice English in different ways. Don't just practice speaking or reading. Try to do everything. Practice speaking, listening, reading, and writing. The more you practice, the better you will get at all of them. You can even find ways to practice English in your everyday life. For example, if you go shopping, try to say the names of things in English. If you're cooking, try to say the ingredients in English. The more you use English in your daily life, the better you will get. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. I made many mistakes when I was learning, and that's okay. Every time I made a mistake, I learned something new. Mistakes are not bad. They help you grow. So, don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to write. Don't be afraid to try. Mistakes will help you get better. Finally, remember that learning English is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. You won't become fluent in one day. But if you keep practicing, you will improve. Every day, you are getting better. Keep going, and one day, you will be able to speak English easily and confidently. It's not about being perfect. It's about trying every day. Keep going and never stop learning. Chapter 6. When I first started learning English, it was hard to believe I could speak it well. Sometimes I felt lost. I didn't understand many words, and I made many mistakes. But I kept going. I told myself, I can do this. Every small step brought me closer to my goal. One thing I learned is that it's okay to not understand everything. When I started, I couldn't understand all the words in movies or songs, but I didn't stop. I kept listening. I learned new words little by little. Now I can understand more. The key is to be patient and keep practicing. Listening is one of the best ways to improve. Every day, listen to English. You can listen to music, watch TV shows, or listen to podcasts. It doesn't matter if you don't understand everything. The more you listen, the more you will understand. Start with simple things, and as you get better, try harder things. Another thing that helped me was speaking. I know it can be scary to speak. When I started, I was afraid to make mistakes, but I realized that making mistakes is part of learning. If you don't speak, you won't get better. So, I started talking. I spoke to myself, to my friends, and to people I met. I didn't worry about making mistakes. I focused on practicing. The more I spoke, the better I became. Speaking is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So, practice speaking every day. You don't need to speak perfectly. Just try to say what you want to say. It's okay if you don't know the exact word. You can use simple words. People will understand you. The important thing is to keep trying. Writing is also important. Writing helps you practice making sentences and remembering new words. Start by writing small things. You can write about your day or your plans. Write 1 or 2 sentences every day. Over time, your writing will improve. It's like exercising your brain. The more you write, the better your writing becomes. One way I practiced writing was by keeping a journal. Every day, I wrote about what happened to me. It didn't matter if I made mistakes. The goal was to practice. The more I wrote, the easier it became to express my thoughts in English. You can keep a journal too. Even if it's just a few sentences, it will help you. Another tip is to read in English. At first, reading was difficult for me. I didn't know many words, but I didn't stop. I started reading simple books, and I kept going. When I didn't know a word, I would try to guess the meaning, or I would look it up. Gradually, I understood more. Reading helps you learn new words and see how sentences are made. It's a great way to improve. When you read, don't try to understand every single word. It's okay if you don't know everything. Try to understand the main idea. If you don't understand a word, don't worry. Just keep reading. The more you read, the more you will understand. Another way to improve is by using technology. There are many apps and websites that can help you learn English. Some apps help you practice speaking. Others help you learn new words or improve your grammar. You can use these apps every day. They are a fun way to practice, and you can use them anywhere, anytime. Sometimes you might feel frustrated. You might feel like you're not improving. I felt that way too. But I had to remind myself that learning takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. I had to keep practicing, even when it was hard. If you keep going, you will improve too. Every time you practice, you are getting better. Remember, learning English is a journey. It's not about being perfect. It's about trying every day. Even if you make mistakes, it's okay. Mistakes are how you learn. The important thing is to keep going. Don't give up. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know how to say something, ask someone. People are happy to help. When I was learning, I asked many questions. Asking helped me learn faster. So, don't be shy. If you don't know something, just ask. One of the best things you can do is practice with other people. Find a friend who also wants to learn English. Practice speaking with them every day. You can also join a group of people who are learning English. When I practiced with others, I learned faster. We helped each other and had fun. You can do the same. Find someone to practice with, and you will get better together. When I started, I was afraid to speak with native speakers. I thought they would laugh at me, but I was wrong. Most people are kind and patient. They understand that you are learning, and they want to help. If you make a mistake, they will correct you, and that's good. Every time you are corrected, you learn something new. So don't be afraid to speak with native speakers. Finally, remember that you are not alone. Many people are learning English just like you. Keep practicing, keep making mistakes, and keep improving. One day, you will look back and be proud of how far you've come. You will speak English with confidence, and you will feel great about all the hard work you put in. Keep going, and you will get there. Chapter 7. When I started learning English, I felt nervous all the time. I was afraid of speaking, making mistakes, and being misunderstood. But I learned that it's okay to feel nervous. Everyone feels that way when they are learning something new. The important thing is to keep going and not let fear stop you. One thing that helped me was setting small goals. At first, my goal was just to learn a few new words every day. It didn't matter if I didn't know a lot of words. I focused on learning a little bit each day. Slowly, I built my vocabulary. After a few weeks, I could speak more clearly because I had learned so many new words. You can do the same. Start with small goals. For example, learn 5 new words a day, or practice speaking for 5 minutes every day. When you reach your goal, celebrate. It will help you feel proud of your progress and keep you motivated to learn more. Another thing that really helped me was practicing every day. Even if I didn't feel like it, I made myself practice. I knew that if I stopped practicing, I wouldn't improve. It doesn't matter if you practice for a short time or a long time. The important thing is to practice every day. You can listen to English, speak it, write it, or read it. Just make sure you do something every day. I also learned that it's important to stay positive. Sometimes I felt like I was not getting better, and I wanted to give up. But then I would remember all the progress I had made. Even though it felt slow, I was moving forward. So I kept going. You should do the same. If you feel frustrated, remember that you are learning and growing every day. Keep telling yourself, I am getting better. I also learned that mistakes are okay. When I started speaking, I made a lot of mistakes, but I didn't let them stop me. Every mistake helped me learn. It showed me what I needed to work on. Now I see mistakes as a good thing. They are a chance to improve. So, when you make a mistake, don't feel bad. Just think, what can I learn from this? Then, try again. One way to get better at speaking is by listening to others. When you hear people speak in English, pay attention to how they talk. How do they say words? How do they form sentences? I learned a lot just by listening to how native speakers speak. You can do the same. Listen to English songs, movies, or podcasts. It will help you hear how words are said and how sentences are built. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't understand something, ask. When I was learning, I asked people for help all the time. Sometimes, I would ask them how to say something. Other times, I would ask for the meaning of a word. People are usually happy to help, so don't be afraid to ask. Asking questions is how we learn. Reading is another good way to improve. When I first started reading in English, it was hard. I didn't know many words, and sometimes I didn't understand what I was reading. But I didn't give up. I kept reading simple books, and over time, I got better. Now, reading is one of my favorite things to do. It helps me learn new words and improve my grammar. You can start with simple books or even stories in English. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just try to get the main idea. Every time you read, you learn something new. The more you read, the better your English will become. Writing also helped me a lot. At first, I didn't like writing in English. It felt hard, but the more I practiced, the easier it became. I started by writing small things, like about my day or what I was going to do. Over time, my writing got better. Now I can write longer and more complex sentences. If you want to improve your writing, start small. Write 1 or 2 sentences every day. The more you write, the better your writing will become. It's okay if your writing is not perfect. The important thing is to keep writing and practicing. You can also use flashcards to learn new words. Every time you learn a new word, write it on a flashcard. Review your flashcards every day. This will help you remember new words better. You can also use apps to help you practice. There are many apps that teach English. Find one you like and use it every day. Another tip is to speak in English as much as you can. The more you speak, the more comfortable you will become. At first, it might feel strange, but it gets easier with practice. Don't worry if you make mistakes. The goal is to speak as much as possible. Sometimes, it's helpful to have a friend to practice with. Find someone who also wants to learn English and practice together. You can help each other and learn faster. If you don't have a friend to practice with, try speaking to yourself. You can practice by talking about your day or asking yourself questions. The more you speak, the better you will get. Finally, believe in yourself. Learning a language is not easy, but it is possible. If you keep practicing, you will improve. Every small step is a step closer to your goal. So, keep going. Keep practicing. Don't give up. You are doing great. One day you will look back and see how far you have come. You will be proud of all your hard work.